Hey everybody, how's it going today? So in this video, I'm going to be going ahead and rebuilding my own personal website. I've wanted to do this for a while now, as my personal website that I currently have, I don't really like it. I don't feel it really represents who I am as a developer anymore. I built it, I think about a year ago, maybe even a year and a half ago, using Angular. But let's just jump in, let's go and have a look at it, and I'll also let's start coding the new website. So I'm actually very upset because I had recorded a video here on the laptop of me coding up this entire website, but it decided not to save, not to export properly from the program that I used to do that. So in a look of defeat, I am gonna talk through my new website. I just won't be coding it along with you. Like, you won't be able to see me coding it along. But sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes software kind of messes you around a bit. So I will be basically just walking through the code and showing you what I did and showing you what stuff does instead. But as a sort of a stepping off point, this here, as we can see, is my, let's say now old personal website. I think I built this one, I want to say more than a year ago, maybe almost 2 years ago at this point, I think. I was very proud of it at the time, but now looking back at it, I'm just like, it's not good. It's built in Angular. It was a purely front-end website, and I hosted it on Amazon at the time, just in an S3 bucket, basically, so it was a static site. I have this element over here which deals with my social media links, an about me section, sort of like a blurb that I wrote. I even wrote here that I now know Angular 5, whereas now in 2019 we're now in Angular version 8. So obviously it's obvious that I wasn't keeping this up to date. In terms of the development stuff I've got here, just listed out all my skills, and I just listed out all these projects that I've done. Now, I'm very proud of these projects, but it's kind of funny that if you were to find this website now, it doesn't really represent who I am as a developer. It doesn't really represent the skills I have. And something I'm left here scratching my head about is that this project here, Munch, that was a project I was working on at the time that I built this site, but it's a broken project. It doesn't work. It kind of half worked with a lot of bugs at the time I was building it, but now it doesn't even work. So it's kind of like, if this was the first thing you came and the first thing you looked at is a broken project, what does that say about me? What does that say about me as a developer? So it's kind of, I'm scratching my head a little bit why I put that in there. And then a hobby section where I just have a simple link out to my Instagram and something here, like I'm doing a client-side HTTP request to the YouTube API to pull in the amount of subscribers I have on my channel, and then just implanting here a playlist from YouTube, just to kind of sort of build upon who I am, what I can do. Again, I was proud of the site at the time, just using an Angular component here, a tab component, and just an Angular material card component, but the site doesn't really represent who I am anymore. So this is a site that I have now. I decided to go with a pre-built template from HTML5 up. If you've never heard of this site, it's really, really, really cool. Basically, it's just a load of free, responsive, fast templates out there that look gorgeous. They're built amazingly, and you can just go in and edit them and adapt them to your needs. They do come as basic HTML and CSS files. So if you were integrating them into other projects, you probably have to do quite a little bit of work to do that, but they look amazing from the outset. So I picked one here, and all that I did to it really was just add my own avatar. I took my social links off my old site because I like the way it animates, so I just kept that in. But again, these all link out to my GitHub, my Instagram, my YouTube, and my LinkedIn page. I added this is built into the site, but I just added a little JavaScript function that pulls in the current year. But what I did want to do is something I've wanted to do for a while, is I have an equipment page here. So it's something I've wanted to do, as I said, just list off all the stuff that I'm using for two reasons. Number one, I do get asked every now and again, oh, what did you film this on, or what computer do you use? So I just thought, all right, I'll just congregate everything into one place and put it here. And so you just go to the equipment page on my site. Here's all the main software that I use. Oh, look, I've even found a little spelling mistake there. It's Google Chrome, not Google Chrome. But these are all the sort of software that I use every day. But also, to be completely upfront, these are all Amazon affiliate links. So if you click on this and you go and buy this, or you go and buy something else on Amazon, I'll get a little cut of it, which would be very nice. So yeah, that's the only sort of major customization I did to the site, to be honest. But if I jump in and look at the code and also go and fix that little typo, that's first thing, Google Chrome. There we go. So that will fix that. Let me just talk you through the code. So basically the template as I downloaded it came in a very, it looks like this. The only stuff that I added was a pages folder and a JavaScript folder, but you have the assets and the images and the index.html. Obviously I've left the credit in here that is from HTML5 up. It's for personal and commercial use under CA3 license, so it's an open source project. And I didn't really do very much to it. I just changed the title. I added in all the assets for a favicon. I generated a favicon. So you can see this one here looks nice and clean, whereas this one looks kind of big and pixelated. Not very good. Something that Google did in their last update was taking a lot more emphasis on a site's favicon and making it part of, like, when you reload, you can't really see it because it's so quick here. But it goes to a little circle and it goes back to square. So sites that don't have favicons now, especially in the newer versions of Chrome, it really stands out. So that was something that was really important for me to go and get in there straight away. What else have I done? I'm loading in Font Awesome from a CDN. I'm not using the downloaded version of Font Awesome that comes with the site, just so that way in case they do any major updates, it's always pulling in from a CDN. Also, the site isn't designed to be used offline. So I don't really need to necessarily worry about fonts or icons or stuff like that not loading, because I'm not building it with the intention to work offline. If you're not online, you're not going to be seeing this website anyway. Then I've basically just got the header section here, which has my name, what I call myself, my job title, let's say. Even though on paper, at my current job, I'm a front-end developer. I have the skill set of a full stack. Not that title really matters to me, but people like titles, so I call myself a full stack developer. A link to my image. And then basically this is the little social links section that I built once upon a time on my previous website. So I just copied it over and took it out of SCSS back to CSS. And instead of all the links happening through JavaScript, they are just hard-coded here in. That's another interesting thing to add. That I realized when I was building this site, and it sort of dawned upon me in the original recording of this situation, that how much I love and take for granted using JavaScript frameworks to build websites now. Like, it was crazy to me that I was building out this whole section, or that I'd copied it in from my old project, but that I don't just have an object. I don't just have an object in my JavaScript file that then iterates out programmatically in HTML. Like, I don't need to go and write all this stuff and hard code everything. Because I did go in here and I did make this span, this current year span, here in the JavaScript. I literally just wrote 2 lines of JavaScript. This site has 2 lines of JavaScript and a Google Analytics script that runs. But it suddenly made me so aware of how much I have become accustomed to and almost rely upon JavaScript frameworks to do a lot of the heavy lifting for websites for me, and not just being able to do it on my own, which was kind of an eye-opener. That it kind of made me realize, like, oh, not that I want to brush up on my skills or be any better at HTML or writing HTML and CSS, but it did make me realize how much I lean upon JavaScript. Another thing that was interesting, so I'd been editing the index page, and then I had to come in here and to the equipment page, and I had to copy in that span class here. And I had to make sure that I'd linked the site JavaScript on this page as well. It wasn't just something that, the footer, I could build this as its own component in a framework. I could just build a footer component inside of that, it's got its own JavaScript, it's got all its logic, and I don't have to worry about that. At that point, I can just take it and use it anywhere on the site that I want, just a component, just like a Lego block. But yeah, no, this building this site, or building the current iteration of this website, because who knows what it's going to be in a year's time from now, was a real eye-opener. Getting all the images in here, getting them all in the images file, tidying up the CSS from the original one that I downloaded. There was a lot of classes and stuff that I didn't need, so I wanted to pull that stuff out. Just adding a CNAME for linking up my domain name. But yeah, no, if you look at this site compared to this site, it's a newer picture of me as well. I'm just happy with this. I think this represents me more as a developer. I'm not at the point in my career anymore where I feel that I need to be looking for a job or asking for a job or all this sort of stuff. So I can really afford to get away from having this programming section, having a list of projects. If I'm going for a job and you really want to know what I'm working on, well, number one, you can go to my GitHub, or you can just ask me and I'll be able to tell you very quickly, like, oh yeah, I've worked on this and that in my spare time, personal project wise. But yeah, no, I like this a lot more. It's just a lot cleaner. I don't really care that it's a template. Like, I think something that a lot of new developers get hung up on when it comes to either projects or portfolios or stuff like that is that you want it to be unique. You want it to be yours. You want it to be coming from you. But at the end of the day, you're just reinventing the wheel. And I think you have to find that fine balance between doing stuff yourself and learning and doing stuff yourself, and taking something that's already been built, like a solution that already exists, and combining those two. I could have spent a few days on this website. I could have spent a few days building this out, using a framework, doing all the CSS, making it responsive, making it beautiful. But I have other things to do in my life. I work full time. I work full time as a developer. The only free time I have to do this is in the evenings or the weekends. So if I can do 90% of the heavy lifting by using somebody else's open source project, what's wrong with that? I don't see that makes me any less of a developer. But equally, if I was now going and I needed to build out my own custom site with a lot of moving parts and bells and whistles and inbuilt project, then I would spend the time to build out a better, or I would spend that time reinventing the wheel, building something customized for myself. But I didn't feel I needed it in this project. So I think that's something that's, well, is good to remember. Even when you're at the early stages, you're still learning, you don't necessarily need to reinvent the wheel every single time you go and do something. So, mini rant over. This is my current website. Obviously, there's a link for it down below. If you want to go and check it out, there's a link to the GitHub. I'll just shoot you back to that camera out there. So there we go. That is how I built my new website. And if you want to go and check it out, there is a link in the description down below. If you have any comments or suggestions for me, then obviously there's also a link down below for the GitHub repo of it. If you want to go ahead and look at the code, if you want to make any changes, maybe do a pull request if that's what you want to do. Or if you just have any comments about it, please leave them down below. And also, if you are new to this channel, if this is the first video of mine that you're watching, please go ahead and subscribe. That would really, help me out a lot. If you haven't done so already, there is a head here that you can do that. And if you also want to check out a video that I've made, something else that YouTube thinks you might like, then you can go ahead and click up here. Until next time, thanks a lot for watching.